Rant with friends.
I know it started happening like 8 years ago. I was painting, and then all I felt like a muscle twitch in my eye,
Oh,
really like doing like detail work, and then I was like, oh shit,
yeah.
I have like a muscle pull.
Yeah, I start doing the whole like trombone thing now when I'm reading. I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
Wow, it's a trip, man. It's like every day. My friend before he passed away said, yeah, I didn't know he was going to pass away. I said, what should I do? One of the things he's told me to have fun, have a lot of fun, but he's also get glasses and put them in every room. I said,
Yes.
is that what it comes down to? He goes, yeah, that's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually on the verge of buying, they have these Apple tags that you can put on things like your keys, your wallet, so that if you lose something, you can find it easily. Cause I'm at that point now where it's like, where did I put my keys? Where did I put my this? Where did I put my glasses? Where, like, I'm going to have to get Apple tags for everything now. And just like,
It's a
yeah.
slippery slope. I don't know, man. Oh, okay. Well, Doña, Oxford.
Doña.
Doña.
There you go.
I saw the squiggly thing.
Yes. There you go.
So welcome to you are on my episode 111, my 100.
That's my favorite number.
Perfect. We're going to have a great show. We'll have a good chit chat. You're a writer, musician, comedian, other things that I'm not saying.
Actress, producer, composer. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm what do they call a Renaissance woman, I guess.
Nice. I like that. Renaissance woman. So you're in Palm Springs right now. So thanks for coming on and on your vacation, essentially, and sharing the love.
Yes, I'm staring at the beautiful pool and jacuzzi right now, but it's too hot to go out there. It's like 107 degrees. So I'm staying inside the air condition until about 4 o'clock, and then I'll go for a nice swim.
It's 107 there right now.
At least, yeah.
It's, wow, that's a trip. I'm back over here in Oregon, so it's like we just had a heat wave like 4 or 5 days in a row last week or the week before of over 100, and that's can be very depleting.
That's surprising up there. I would think it didn't get that hot up that way. Wow.
Yeah, it's a trip. Yeah. It's like it kind of makes you not do anything, or you can't really. I sit here sweating, just not. Anyway,
but it's vacation mode, so I don't have to do anything, which is nice. So I can just chill. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're getting out and about. I want to do let's talk about the present, okay? Because we'll dice it up a bit. Because I could go to your past a little bit. Do you want to start the past a little bit and tell
whatever you want? I'm whatever. I'm open to any conversation. I just like to talk.
Okay, so. Then we'll just go past, present, and future.
Sure.
So keep it easy. Where can you tell us a little bit about how where you came from, how you got into entertainment business? Were you always living in Los Angeles? How'd you know you're funny? Stuff like that.
Okay, well, I don't even know that I'm funny, but we'll see.
You started making money from it. You started making money from.
Okay, yeah. When I was 6 years old, my mom took me to go see Cher in concert on her first, after she had separated from Sonny. And she came out in this Indian headdress and all these outfits, and I went, damn, I want to be her. And so I knew at 6 years old, I wanted to be that, I don't know, something. I wanted to be a rock star or an actress. I just wanted to be something in that. I wanted to be Cher, basically. Mm-hmm. So, and then a piano fell out of heaven, literally. Nice. I got a piano at 6 years old. I kind of forced the issue on my mom, and she went, okay. And she got me a piano, and then the lessons started, and then dance lessons started. And then before you knew it, my mom was a widow twice by the time she was 40. And so so it was just her and I, and she basically did whatever I asked her to do. So I forced her to volunteer at this theater to make costumes so I could be in the play. And she went, okay. And then that turned into a full-time state job at a state theater state-run theater company in upstate New York. And so then I got into theater that way. And then that led me to NYU in theater production company. But then while I was doing theater in New York, which didn't make any money, my piano skills started taking me into the nightclubs where I could make $100 a night playing rock and roll and blues with all these bands in New York. So my career, although I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be, like I wanted to be Judy Garland or whatever. I wanted to be a musical theater actress. My piano skill took me into rock and roll and blues. And I was making so much money that way that my career just kind of went that way. And then I became a touring musician for 20 plus, almost 30 years, touring all over the world with lots of rock stars, lots of blues people under my own name as well. I've been to 27 countries and all 48 contiguous states, playing music. And I did that for 20 plus years. And then right before the pandemic, I was really missing acting and comedy and really missing that. So a friend of mine said, well, hop into an acting class. Come to my, I was from New York originally, born and raised, Queens, New York, Astoria, woohoo. Then after September 11th, I moved to Chicago because I was playing a lot of blues with a lot of blues bands, touring internationally. And so Chicago seemed like a natural place to go so I was there for about 4 years, but it felt small town compared to New York. So yeah. I thought the next progression is to move to LA. So in 2005, I moved to LA. I was still touring out of LA, but touring all over the world. And then around 2018, I got really burnt out touring. Also, a big thing is that the music world started changing the way now the acting world is changing. We got streaming long before Netflix. We were streaming music on, YouTube and Apple, iTunes and whatever. And it really killed our economy for musicians. I mean, I made my money on CD sales and that was gone. Nobody has CD players anymore. Right. So,
yeah.
So that kind of,
what year did that really start to change, do you think? Because I thought it was like 2008, or was it before that? It was 2000.
Oh, no, it took a while for it to diminish. It started around 2008. I guess it really started Napster in 1998 or whatever. But really, it was a slow roll. It didn't affect my personal economy until maybe 2014. That's when I really started seeing, oh shit, nobody's buying CDs, nobody's buying product, everybody's getting product for free. And I wasn't getting residuals anymore from any sources. In Europe, when they still had a lot of rules in place where at the end of your concert, you had to give the club owner the list of your set, whose song you performed, who was the writer on that song, and what company, PRO, performance rights organization company that writer belongs to, so that they could get paid by the club for every song that you sang. Well, that started falling apart. Like, we don't do that in America anymore. We have 30s or 40s. And now that started going away in Europe as well. And it was like, ooh, I'm not seeing royalties. I'm not seeing. And so I would say 2014 to 2018 is when it really that was it. And that's when I was kind of getting burnt out, because in order to make money, I had to really bust my ass touring and trying to find and work extra clubs in order to make some more money. But it wasn't worth it. It was burning me out. So in 2018, I kind of sat on my sofa for a year in a pity party going, I don't know what to do with myself. Because if I'm not a touring musician, who is Doña Oxford if you're not your occupation? Yeah. Right. Became the conversation for me. It's like, what's my identity? And so I kind of struggled with that. And a friend of mine said, jump into my acting class. I jumped into his acting class. And within a month, it just brought back I had acting training as a kid professionally for years, 15 years. from the age of 6 until 18. Then I went to NYU for theater. So I was professionally trained, and I jumped back into this acting class. And within a month, I got cast as a series regular on a sitcom that was written and directed and produced by Mark Brown, who wrote all the barbershop films. And we went into production, and then COVID hit.
Of course.
So, and then we finished the production through COVID, kind of, but now he just hadn't been able to sell the series. And so it's been a little frustrating. We know that we've got this amazing season, an entire season in the can. And unfortunately, because of the strike, some of us are hoping, oh, maybe he'll be able to sell it because there's no content being made, and these companies are going to be desperate for content, and maybe he can sell it now. But so it's been frustrating, but my acting career started flourishing, and I started getting TV commercials and comedy things. And then I realized, oh, comedy is kind of my strong suit. I don't consider myself a stand-up comic per se, but I definitely am a comic actress. And then I met Paul Provenza and Babs Roman. It was the weirdest thing. Babs had seen me at some comedy event that I had done with Harry Shearer and Judith Owen. I did their Christmas special every year.
Oh, nice.
And I guess Babs must have seen me in some context that way and became a fan of mine. And she was my Facebook fan. And I was, again, then COVID hit, and I was like, what do I do with myself now that I can't go out and act? Well, let me start writing a sitcom. So I wanted to find some support in trying to find some additional comedy writers to come on with me. And I was watching Paul Provenza's Green Room. I was like, oh, I remember that show. Let me go back and watch and see what comics, listen to some stand-up comics and comic writers. And I'm watching the series, and I see at the end of the credits, it says produced by Babs Roman. And I went, isn't she my Facebook fan? To go on Facebook and see if that's the same Babs Roman. Sure enough, I reached out to her, and she's like, oh my God, I'm one of your biggest fans. I would love to help you, blah, blah, blah. And we just became fast friends. And then I started getting involved with Paul's backyard shows. And then because of my musical background, I suggested we do a musical comedy, all just musical comedians. Mm-hmm. And I put that show together with him and Babs. And before you know it, we had a great night of amazing musical comedians. Mm-hmm. And Paul said, I thought Paul was going to host it. And Paul said, well, you know what you're doing. You host it. And I went, host it? That means I actually have to have jokes. That means I actually have to prep. And I went, oh shit, okay. So I did, and I wrote a bunch of, and it was benefiting Abortion Access Front. Mm-hmm. And so I just wrote a bunch of abortion jokes, and they went over well, and now people say I'm a comedian. So I don't know, that's how it kind of came about. But yeah, I've always loved comedy. I mean, I grew up, especially musical comedy, I grew up with Tom Lehrer, Alan Sherman, these musical comedians who, would write, musical, like even Flight of the Conchords. I think they're brilliant. A lot of, musical comedians. I love that style. Bo Burnham, Tim Minchin. I just love that kind of humor and using music to express your humor. Mm. Yeah. So that's kind of my life in a nutshell. There's a lot more in there. That was like
that's a lot.
And that's nothing. That's like just surface scratching. I mean, I was the very first white female rapper signed to a major label in the 90s. I auditioned for Bob Fosse a month before he died. I've played with major rock stars like Keith Richards, Van Morrison, Roger Daltrey, Ginger Baker, Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones. I played with a lot of, so I've lived 7 out of the 9 lives.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a robust depiction of how your trajectory moved. You seem to move in and out of these different entertainment, or you're an entertainer.
Yeah.
That's totally crazy. And that's how I met you, is at Paul's party. Yeah. And I can't wait to see the premiere that he just had, or for the Green Room Redux, I guess.
Yeah.
That'll be very wild. I was at that one. You're at that one, right?
I was at that one. That was a wild. I couldn't go to the premiere the other night because I'm out here in Palm Springs, but
Yeah.
But I'm dying to see that episode because it was a really funny, but also very important and needed conversation about sexual abuse, and it's interesting, comedians can get away with talking about these tough, heady subjects because they can do it. I think comedians can access it from a point of view where you can, take the blow a little bit, you know what I mean? And through laughter and through humor. But it's a necessary conversation. And I was so impressed with Doug Stanhope and Paul and everyone there that night talking about, their experiences and what it means,
Yeah, kind of open up the gate to talk about it, to create a conversation and be, he's a bit of a provocateur as well.
Yeah, I love it.
And that was intense. That was intense. I was on mushrooms and LSD that night.
Oh shit.
And, I don't know. I just got in a crazy mood. I took an Uber. I'd had to probably just made a sale, and I was like, "Let's go!" And it was heavy energy, man. I was like, "Fuck!" But yeah, it'll be fun to see what happens with that. So currently, you've seen all these different things with the industry changing, and you kind of acclimated and kind of found your way into doing different things with it. I mean, is there anything that we could talk about with regards to that it's like that we're not kind of beating a dead horse? Can you shed some light onto any sort of pattern that you might be seeing develop? I mean, you're out there.
Absolutely.
Have you been out there with the SAG and AFTRA and all those?
I'm non-union, but I do support the union, and I have not gone yet because I want to wait till it starts dying down when they're going to need more people, and they're going to get tired, and it's going to go on longer than I think people think, and that's when I want to step up and go, okay, pass the baton to me. I'll run now. So I haven't had a chance to go on yet, but I'm constantly, tweeting about it and talking about it. And I think it's a very important issue, especially AI is a major issue. But to answer your question, life goes in cycles. The world goes in cycles. And I think paradigm shifts happen all the time. And the way to get through it is to be fluid and flexible, and malleable and open to change. I think when you hunker down and go, I don't believe in this new paradigm, like when streaming first happened, right? I admit I did not want to get into that mindset. Even social media, I did not want to get into the TikTok influencer, look at me, watch my little clip. That was so against everything. I come from a fundamental background of fame is the reward for doing an occupation well. Fame is not the occupation. That was my mindset. So this TikTok social media shit came along, and I was not in that headspace to see it as an opportunity. I bucked up against it. And as a result, now I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So I think, and I've learned that lesson now, and I'm realizing that, right now with the strike, yes, it's horrible what's happening. And it is terrible that these actors who have been so accustomed to a certain income, like I was accustomed to a CD income, right? Are now struggling to find their path. But I think if you're malleable and fluid enough to ride that wave and to find the opportunities within the paradigm shift, within these, changes, listen, people can make their own content on YouTube, on TikTok, and actors at your core, an entertainer is there to create content and make and act and or do stand up or whatever it is that you're passionate about. So you don't need a major studio to act.
Yeah.
You only need the major studio to pay you what you're worth. But you can create your own content and put it out on YouTube and then get picked up by that major studio and say, you want my great content now? Motherfucker, you're going to have to pay for it. Right. And then that, or you want my content now, you're going to have to change your rules for everybody else. So we can become leaders by finding our own opportunity through other mediums. We don't need big studios. We can find other mediums, other outlets to create our content, and then have the power to say, oh, you want me? Then you need to change the game for everybody. You know, we need to step up in those roles of leadership, but first you need to be malleable and be able to create your own content and make your own way, you know?
Yeah, it's just seeing it all sort of wrap itself around itself and change, and people like stand-ups doing all these podcasts, and everybody's got their own network basically on their own YouTube studio, et cetera, et cetera. How do we monetize this?
Right.
Then they get, then they get like their advertisers and stuff like that. And even I found like there's even a shift like that's happened, like just of being a big observer of podcasts and how it's like almost like even like I changed, like I was like watching, like I had a lot of different podcasts I like that I started watching at like the beginning and before COVID, and now I've even cut some of those podcasts out. It's like the magazine, that remains good, and when it first comes out, then it gets smaller and smaller until it becomes like a shadow of its former self.
Yeah.
And, I've seen a lot of changes happening even with that, because I guess I got burned out on the same sort of and seeing, but also in that way, it's like seeing it progress as well, get bigger and bigger, like Tom Segura, Your Mom's House, and all these big, Bert Kreischer and everybody blowing up. And so how big does it get like before it changes again?
Right.
Or it's this really, because people are becoming the pinnacle, like I don't even watch Rogan all that much, but he's out there creating content, and
right.
But you can kind of peek in every once in a while and see what he, on something that he's doing that might be interesting to you. Yeah. But people keep on creating, and it's getting this. It's like, do you see like a pattern? It's a really odd, kind of obtuse question, but like, where do you see this going? Like people creating their own content and getting paid for it, going back on tour or doing clubs or doing other things. It's like it's becoming very, very, very watery out there.
Right now, it's a little watery. It's a little runny. It's a little runny. But I do think, well, here's what I think is, it's going to be runny for a while. And I think our political spectrum kind of follows the same pattern. It's a little runny for a while. But I think the good thing about this is cream floats to the top. Mm-hmm. And I think people eventually get really bored of crap and they start looking for the quality. And I think the people that will thrive are the ones that are flexible and see these moments as opportunities and jump at those opportunities with good quality. Yeah. Like for instance, somebody who is still thriving right now, Randy Rainbow, started this 8 years ago. He started his whole like putting these funny videos, political videos out, and but he's still thriving because he's great at what he does, and he has excellent content. He really thinks about it. He's not just like every 5 minutes doing some, oh, look at me. He's not a look at me. He's putting out quality, right? And I think that's the difference between like influencers who are just looking for attention and artists who are invested in creating art. I think that's the difference. I think in general, people are going to get really sick and tired of the influencer mentality, the just, constant content being thrown at you, but it's not quality content. It's just shit. you know,
Yeah.
and yes, you can get caught in that rabbit hole of
Oh,
just like watching and watching and watching and watching. But at some point, you start subscribing to the good stuff.
yeah. You have to pop yourself off. Like doom scrolling is
Right.
real. Like we are like everybody's like so attached that it's like so attached.
I
Like
know.
I've seen it's just a trip, man. It's like when you see couples on the cell phone together holding hands walking down the street, not it's like everyone's
Dinner. People are sitting at restaurants just on their phones. It's like, but you're sitting you're talk to each other. Like, what the
yeah.
fuck, dude?
It's a trip. It's like this. It's invasion of the body snatchers. I mean, it's a trip. Like, what is this? It always trips me out. Like, what does this look like in 5 years?
Yeah.
Or even
I know. And here's the issue now, and this is part of the SAG-AFTRA strike issue, is because there is no metric or regulations on the internet, right? There's no metric in place to say, oh, episode 4 of season 12 of Big Bang Theory got this many views on Hulu, right? There's no metric. We can do that. We have the technology to do that. The studios can do that, but there's no metric in place and there's no regulations for internet right now. So because there's no regulations, it's just wild, wild west, and anything and everything is out there, which is good, but it's also bad. So really there needs to be some sort of regulations or some sort of rights performance, like PROs, performance rights organizations like BMI or ASCAP, that can say, oh, this has, put a metric in place. This aired so many times, this person gets this much of a, even if it's 3 cents an episode, it's something. There's something that's stating, this is what you're getting paid. And until we put those regulations on not just the big studios, but Google and YouTube and Apple Music and all of that, until we put those regulations in place, nothing's going to change. It's just going to be wild, wild west, and people climbing on top of each other for scraps. You know what I mean? And that's the problem right where we're at right now, is people are not caring about one another because we're in a survival mode right now. We're all trying to make what we can for our own tribe, our own bubble. And so why should I care about you if you're trying to get there and I'm trying to get there? We're all trying to get some scraps. I'm going to push you aside to get my scraps to survive. And so we're not looking out for one another. And I think that's what regulations would help put into place, is more of a societal and civic understanding of, hey, we need to work this out together and we all need to get paid. And we all need, there needs to be a distribution of the wealth, the proper distribution of wealth. Yeah. I'm sorry, I went real political there. I don't know what happened.
No, you can go as political as you want. Let's talk about it. It's like, it just feels, I was going to say my thoughts about, it's like, with that being said, everything you just said, there seems to be a layer of people that are up here watching the people down here fight and scrap around, and they can sustain they have sustainability because they are, I guess, rich. It comes down to money, and they can sort of watch everybody kind of flail around while they just create their AI content or whatever is going to end up being with quantum computing and what ends up being. And I think people will digest whatever shit these guys up here put out, and while everybody here flails around and ends up creating their own content and kind of rises above the occasion, and maybe they can link together at some point. But right now it seems like there's a big divide.
Well, I love what George Carlin said years ago when he said, the rich are there to control the wealth. The poor are there to scare the shit out of the middle class, right? To keep us right. And it's so true. It's like, each class has its purpose, but the poor are really there just to scare the middle class, to keep us in line, to keep paying the taxes.
You don't want to look like, this is the example. Do you want to go look like this or like this, Right.
Because the rich make all the money, pay none of the taxes. The middle class pay all the taxes, make none of the money, but the poor just are there to scare the middle class to keep them paying the taxes. So yeah, it's interesting. what was the question now?
It just
But yeah,
seems like there's a big divide between
is it?
and you know, I guess it's a weird example, but like as I even this last like 4 or 5 years in particular, when I've started to get to know people creating content or making movies or getting a budget to make movies for certain for people, they would it's just all these IPs. And so if you're not going to fit into an IP type, then you're not going to get some sort of budget. If you want to, there's genres, there's horror, there's action, there's comedy is hard to get a budget for. Apparently, people don't and studios don't want to. That's why they don't want to produce or give money to comedy. I guess it's too much of a variable. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because of the international market rights or whatever that because comedy is very specific sometimes where you can make an action movie and it can be played around the world in different languages and people understand what the hell it is. As opposed
Right.
to comedy where like if you get like a Mr. Bean, which is very translatable into many different languages, that I mean, I was on an airplane and like going through, I don't know, on my way to Amsterdam or something like that, or even in the Colombia, and that was very translatable. People were laughing at Mr. Bean jokes, so things
Sure.
made for that was because it's all visual too.
Right. Well, that's a good point. I think though it might be changing, and I say that only because this younger generation, the 15 to 25-year-olds, they don't care about gender, age, weight. Like it used to be that people care, like, there was a specific genre or demographic that you had to fit into. And I'm seeing a trend now, especially in music, and film, that like nobody cares about that shit. Nobody cares about what gender you are, or what age you are, as long as what you're saying is interesting and good. You know what I mean? So I think it's starting to shift. I agree with you. I think the big, studios are still locked into that, what IP, what demographic do you fit
They
into?
can pander to they can pander, but they also use that to pander to those and those
They do.
and also get money from those audiences. So they even if
They,
there's a small percentage of people, they're able to profit off of them in some sort of way. They'll
exactly.
do it. Just like the Disney movies keep on remaking live action versions of their fucking movies. It's the same shit at different plates.
I know. Right. Exactly. They want to appear woke. Right.
They just go for money. That's all they're on.
Doing it for money. Exactly. Exactly. But I do think as far as individual content now, and I think as far as audiences go, I don't know. Yes, does an audience want to see the big blockbuster? Of course, it's fun. And can everybody laugh at Mr. Bean? Of course, yes. But I do think that people are caring less about those labels and those boxes. And I think they're more so for instance, Kylie Minogue, who's now had hits in the 90s, whatever. If for those who don't know, Australian musician, had some big hits in the disco world for a while, pop world. Then she kind of fell out of favor and then got into like musical theater and whatever. She's just a performer. And now she has the #1 hit pop single. And she's 56 and nobody cares that she's 56. They just love the song.
Yeah.
These young people don't care. They don't care what her video, they just want to hear this good quality song.
Yeah.
And so I think that is, what Lizzo did for the overweight community, right? What Lady Gaga has done for, just people who don't feel they fit anywhere, right? What she calls her monster community. It's like, yeah, I think that's now this new trend of anything goes kind of, and that's why I mean cream rises to the top. I think people don't necessarily care about what box it comes in. They care what's inside the box now. And I think that's an awesome place to start, because now it really doesn't, because for a while there, I'm 56. I'm freaking out. Don't tell anybody on your podcast.
I won't tell anybody. It'll be our little secret. I'm 54.
But I mean, I don't care. But the thing is, you know, there was a time back, and that's the thing, when I got burnt out in 2017, 2016, 2017, a part of me was like, oh shit, I'm hitting 50. What I'm done. Like, you know, I'm not I'm not 18-year-old pop star quality. I'll never get a record deal again.
No.
And I really had that thought back. That was 4 or 5 years ago. I really had that thought, like, my career's pretty much over. What can I do now to find other ways of making an income that are still creative, that's not upfront on stage in your face? Because it's just, you know, I'm too old and nobody's going to want an old lady doing that. But then suddenly this trend started shifting with artists like Lizzo and even, you know, Alabama Shakes and all these cool artists. And even in acting, you're seeing the trends where it doesn't really matter what size you are, what weight you are, what gender you are, what you look like. It's really about what's inside the box. It's not about the cover anymore. And I think that's a wonderful place for our industry. And that's why I say, fuck the studios and their labeling and their whatever IP or whatever genre, whatever demographic. Fuck, they're trying to hold on to a paradigm that no longer exists. And we're saying, and why can't we create our own content and say, fuck the studios, I'll put my own sitcom out on YouTube?
Yeah, that's sort of everyone's been leaning into that for like a while, but now it's really, we're gonna see the effects of people, you know, necessarily not having to make $100 million off what they make, but maybe just make enough to survive and do another one with.
Yeah. And that's okay. But listen, you know, look at Ben Affleck and Matt Damon couldn't get cast in anything, so they wrote their own movie.
Yeah.
And then it happened that it got greenlit and it got took off and became a huge hit. And then they got the Academy.
Well, isn't there a story about that? Didn't they really have a ghostwriter really wrote that? I heard, and they didn't really write. I heard that, wasn't that a story that went around that they didn't actually write that? That's
not what I don't know. Ben Affleck says Matt wrote most of the content.
Okay. There's some maybe
Ben doesn't. He'll even say, I really can't take the credit, even though I was considered a co-writer. He goes, I really didn't write shit.
Yeah.
Wrote most of it. I don't know. Maybe, I have no idea. But the concept of that you can make your own way. You know what I mean? Like we can. I mean, that's the one beautiful thing about America. Yeah. You know, is we do have this pull yourself up by your bootstraps, go out, this frontierism mentality. We come from that background, right? And so fuck everybody else. I'm going to go and do my thing and I'm going to be successful. And so there is something wonderful about that, especially now that, like I said, people want quality. People want what's inside the box. They don't care about what package it comes in. So I think that's a good place for our industry. It's not there yet, and it's going to take a little while, and it's going to take courage from artists, real artists, to step up and jump into that foray. But I think it's possible. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I have to keep with that optimism. I got to pull myself up. I'm a little jaded, I think, you know. I feel, but I will always have painting, you know. But like, you know, as far as like doing the film that I really been trying to do and really want to make before you know, my bucket list, or, you know, I don't want to make a lot of movies. I want to just make some strong, you know, features or shorts or whatever. But I guess you got to pull, you know, it's because I guess you just got to get into it and like not let things stop you. I know this sounds trite and obvious, but it's just like because my film takes place in 1999 and requires a budget, so I'm trying to figure out always been trying to figure out how to do it without a budget, but I don't know. The jokes are so, anyways. It's a menagerie. How do you control it and wrap it around and get it done without having?
Okay, I'm gonna go spiritual on you.
Please do. I'm a spiritual person.
The how is not up to you. The how is what gets in your way. When you think, how do I do this? You're fucked. If you just take inspired action, if you can center yourself to a place where you go, okay, if I could just film this scene as a as a demo reel to maybe get money, right? Or if I could just film that, right? Don't think about, just get little things done, baby steps, right? And just go for it. Go for your dream no matter what. I feel the universe always provides. I love Steve Harvey. He does a lot of these motivational talking. He'll give a lot of motivational speeches in between commercial breaks on his different shows. And he did one, if you YouTube Steve Harvey motivational, it's amazing. But he says this one where he says, no matter what, you have to stay on Faith Street, whatever that faith is for you, right? You have to stay on Faith Street, because the minute you ask for something, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, he says God sends it to you immediately. But two things, he doesn't tell you when it's going to be delivered, and you have to be on Faith Street to accept it. You can't be on I'm too poor Boulevard, I'm too old Avenue, I don't see a way to get it done street. You have to stay on Faith Street and just pursue your goal, no matter how small, just a baby step. And then sit in that calm of knowing that you are focused on your goal. And when you're in that calm place, an inspiration will come, and then you take that inspired action, right? But if you're trying to force it, you're forcing a square peg in a round hole, so to speak, right? And it'll never get done. It's like banging your head against a wall. Well, just go around the wall. Why are you banging your head against the bricks? You can just go around it and find another way. So it's about opening up to being okay to finding another way, and letting go of sometimes, okay, you have a specific vision and you think this is the way to get there. But if you can step back from a higher perspective and look down and see, oh, there's multiple ways to get there. And it might not look the way you want it to look. Even the end product might not look the way you want it to look. But what you're asking for, that feeling of what you're asking for, the success of your movie, or the success of making something to completion even, will happen. It might not look the way you want it to in the end, but you will have that success, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I know this, and that's the frustrating thing about it, I think, is and also seeing other people frustrated by not having what they're, it's a cyclical thing that can happen. You start seeing everybody else trying to aggravated and distraught and trying to climb out of this thing that that you just ultimately want to create something, because it's supposed to be fun.
Well,
it's supposed to be fun, the whole thing.
But here's a nugget. Here's one more nugget for you.
Nugget.
When the shit's hitting the fan, you can't find a way, and everything's crumbling apart, and you're going, oh, fuck, I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. This is not working out. Always remember those moments that appear to be chaos, or these moments that appear bad, like bad things are happening to you, shit's happening to you. They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. If you can hold on to that thought, and it's hard. I just went through a month of shit. I had a car accident, somebody rammed into me. My apartment has mold. I've been getting sick and being forced out. I've been having a lot of personal struggles lately, but I thought about it, and I realized I got to get out of this victim mode, because this victim mode is killing me. This victim mode is keeping me in this cycle. And I suddenly went, okay, instead of going, oh, fuck, this is now another new thing. Instead, I'm going, woohoo, good. Let's let the shit come. Because if I can go, okay, I can handle this. It's just shit. It's happening for my highest and best. Then I can move through it way faster and get to what I want way faster. But if I sit and wallow in the shit, I'm just going to sit and wallow in the shit forever. That pity party, that like, oh, fuck. So it's really how you handle your shit, because shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
Circumstance, there's always circumstance. but it's how do you handle the circumstance, and knowing that sometimes the circumstance is there for your highest and best because it's putting you on a trajectory that you wouldn't have gone for. It's forcing you out of your comfort zone because we get so into our comfort zone, right? So it's forcing you to get out of your comfort zone and go into a different trajectory, a different direction that you would have not thought about before. That's now opened you up to a whole new world. And my whole new world in honestly, this week, amazing. I have a brand new car I didn't expect to get. I have a brand new apartment I didn't expect to get. I have like all these amazing things I have a brand new client. I'm going to start producing this amazing artist. I'm going to Chicago next week to produce her new album. It's a new job I didn't expect to get. More money I didn't expect to get. A new career I didn't expect to get. And I think it's because I sat through the shit and went, the shit's okay. It's happening for me. What's the universe trying to tell me? Let me feel it out and see, okay, it's saying go this way. All right, I'll go this way. Instead of banging my head this way, I'll go this way. So I think that's, soften the how. That would be my.
Yeah, you're right.
Soften yourself to the how.
It's good. It's good confirmation because you need to exercise that. Hearing those words are good because that's the ping pong with this frustration and whatever, and like trying to stay still in the calm of the river, and then when to swim in it, and then to stand still, let it go by, and all this stuff. And it's always, I think you get so close to it that what's that?
I don't know if you know Kyle Cease. He used to be a comedian, stand-up comic, and now he does like transformational speaking and all that kind of stuff. But he says, and I love this, he says, that phrase, everybody says, well, deep down, I know everything will be all right. Well, if deep down, you know everything is going to be all right, why don't you just live in deep down?
Yeah.
Live in the deep down. And I think when you live there, when you live in a knowing that everything's okay, that in the greater, because another thing Steve Harvey says is, listen, all the shit you've been through from the day you were born until right this minute, think about all the shit you've been through. You survived it, right? That means you have a 100% success rate at survival. No company on earth can say that. There's not an organization that can say they have a 100% success rate at surviving, right? But you do. So that means that you're going to survive this too. So don't worry about it. Live in that deep down. Know that everything's okay. And by that knowing, that vibration of relaxation, of calm, of going, I got this. I'm cool. It's that clipboard energy. It's like, dude, nobody's going to question me. I know what I'm doing. That I think that vibration is what then attracts more of that to you. Whereas sitting wallowing in the shit is going to attract more of that to you. So what do you want coming at you? The shit or the good stuff?
The good stuff.
Good stuff. So just stay in that vibration. Just stay in the good stuff. Yeah.
I think coming back because coming back to Oregon from LA, it's sort of like you have to I had to change directions a little bit.
LA's hard, man. Oof.
Woof. That's a tough place, man. Because I was selling my art, but it's at a fraction of the cost. So when people
really in LA, there's more millionaires in LA. What the fuck, dude?
I was getting nickel and dime to death. I mean, I appreciate every sale, but I was like, okay, this is not gonna work. I can't keep on selling these $1,000 paintings for like $200-$300 because it's just all going to rent. And then but that the point of it is I'm back. I kind of got out of the shit for a second.
Right.
It's a little bit more boring over here, but I'm able to get shit done, kind of work in this, kind of like get, things completed and go, not have things in the back of my mind going, okay, I need to do that. A lot of check marks in a very short amount of time, getting out of here and focusing and refocusing your lens on the stuff that's really important, just like what you're saying about like, getting little pieces of it done and then putting it together and make a, all these ingredients make a delicious pizza, just put them, gather them. And so it's refocusing. And it's important because it can kill you if you don't.
Yeah, it can. And it's really, in the end, what is it that we all want? We all want to be happy, right? That's everybody's goal. I don't know a single person who doesn't just want to be happy. So instead of struggling to be happy, Like that's what most human beings do.
Yeah.
We struggle to try and find ways that are going to, or we buy things that are going to make us feel happy, or we, date somebody that we think is going to make us feel happy, or whatever, right? But those are outside of yourself. All you have to do is just smile and feel happy. Like it sounds so simple.
It can be intense. It's we live through,
and it's not easy, but real and listen, when the shit's hitting the fan, it's really hard to find that. It's really hard to sit and go, okay, I'm going to pretend I'm happy now. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task, but it is really that simple, is to recalibrate your energy. It's about recalibrating every time. The minute you feel yourself in that anger or negativity or darkness or depression or whatever, go, oh, I recognize it, recalibrate, because it's like any moving train, right? You can't stop a moving train going 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction, but you can slow it down. You can recognize it, slow it down, have it stop, and then start shifting it back to the right direction. Like, so it's a recalibration of energy. Like for me, I find that's what helps me the most, is going, okay, I'm in the shit. I know I'm in the shit. I have to know that it's for me. It's for my highest and best. I'm going to get through this. Let's just start moving into happiness and joy. What can I do right this minute that will make me feel a little better?
Yeah.
That's all. Paint a picture, write a screenplay, find something creative or something that'll just make you feel, go to a movie, have a slice of pizza, something fun that you don't normally do, find something that makes you feel better in the moment. And that will then help shift that energy back. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, I agree. I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to do, is recalibrate, and on a personal note, just to realign myself, because it's like it was going sideways and I kept it going, and the sideways was like, oh wait, hold on, I know this is sideways, let's just get out of this.
100%. That's good. That's exactly what you needed to do. And
it feels good. It's a little liberating as well, but also I feel, as a creative, do you ever feel like lonely, like you're the only one doing it, but know that you are not alone, but there's this like complete still, like I'm alone.
Yes. That is the biggest thing. And especially LA really makes you feel that way. LA, it's a city of 25 million fucking people. And I've never felt more alone in my life. It's crazy. And yet, I mean, I have friends. I've got lots of friends, and and yet there is a loneliness. But I'm wondering if that's also partly part of what we've just come through with COVID and Zoom, and like we're no longer and social media. Like for years now, we've been anti-socialing. What's the word? That's not a word.
Anti-socialing.
Anti-socializing ourselves out, right? Like we're not, nobody holds a door open for somebody at the store. There's no, we're really losing that socialization, I think. And so, yeah, I'm feeling the loneliness, but I don't know I don't know what the cause of that is. I think a lot of it is we're all in our own bubble, our own survival mode. And so we're not really looking.
And also, I think the social experiment of all of this, including things like this that we're doing right now, is like, it's really like, we're dealing with each other in a digital way, instead of like gathering. I don't know, as much like I used to love to go to movie theaters, but now I don't even really feel like going and seeing a movie, just because I love movies, but it's just like how we get our interaction with each other is changed.
Yeah 100%. I mean, why go to a movie theater when you can have a 75-inch screen TV and have streaming content for free coming into your home? You don't have to move. Yeah, you
could Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub and all these. It's all very.
We've convenienced ourselves to death.
But what is so like because doom scrolling is like a crazy thing. Like I'm having to I'm being more conscientious of putting my phone away.
Yeah.
Or like what Eckhart Tolle said about like don't even bring the phone into your bedroom at night.
Right.
In the living room. It's like I'm trying to distance myself from my phone.
Yeah.
And it's weird
Hard.
because like, ever turn off your phone and then turn it back on automatically on accident, like your hand automatically, it's like not even a part, your hand turns it back on knowing 5 seconds ago you just turned it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I do it all the time.
So we're getting twisted. Our brains are getting crazy because
And
we're
also, I mean, it really is. It's the. Did you see that documentary? Oh, what the heck? Social.
I
It's called a social.
I heard about this movie.
I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, it's about the algorithm and how the algorithm is literally controlling us, and we can't get away from it because the algorithm sees what it is that you're liking and it pinpoints that and it just feeds you that. And it's literally the mouse with the heroin water versus the regular water, right? And that's it. And we are being literally programmed to what to think, what to watch, what to like, what to, and every time we hit that button, every time we take a drink of that heroin water,
I was tripping out because my feed on Facebook is really in the last like
social dilemma. That's it. I'm sorry. The social dilemma.
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yes, social dilemma. I need to see it.
Yeah.
This is like I don't know what it is, but like obviously the algorithm. But my Facebook feed is wild. It just happened in the last like 7 days or something. It's like the things look different. There's advertising on there that is my advertising on Facebook are being is like out of fucking control right now. It's like, how do you are we supposed to be on Facebook all our lives? How do we get off it? I guess we're gonna have to just say, listen, I gotta leave Facebook. Is this what's happening? I mean,
I don't know that you can, because the problem is now
you can't leave. You won't leave.
Well, because here's the problem. No matter what the social media, whichever one it is, whatever the platform, here's the problem. We now, right, as artists, we have to be our own business people because we don't want it, right? So in order to be our own business people, we have to advertise and we have to market ourselves. We are all now each individually our own brand.
Yeah.
Everybody is a brand now. Everybody.
Got my buffalo on my shirt right here.
Yeah. See, even the 6-year-old is a brand now, right? Yeah. And so because everybody's a brand, you need to market. And in order to market, you need social media. So you can't get off social media. I wanted to give up Facebook. And then I realized, oh shit, but I need to tell people where I'm playing next week or else I won't have anybody in the audience.
Exactly.
It's like, fuck. So you can't get away. You can't get away from it. Yeah.
It'd be nice if it changed or morphed into something else. I mean, it's looking kind of like very sterile right now. It's like, it seems like, you ever get those reminders like, oh, welcome to, this is your 12th year on Facebook. You're like, oh God. It's like,
but what gets me is, the other day I talked about with a friend, I don't know how the subject came up. I talked about, we were joking around, something about STDs or something like that. You would not believe how many, suddenly all the advertising for condoms and advertising for STD medication. I'm like, why is there STD medication coming up on my feed? And it's because I was telling a joke with a friend and mentioned STDs. And now it's because I said it, my smartphone recorded it. And now that's all the advertising I get is stuff like that. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean? It just, the algorithms pull whatever you're talking about. You could talk about sandals and suddenly you have 1 million sandal advertisements on your fucking feed. It's crazy.
Yeah. I remember like a long time ago hearing about like this is maybe, I don't know what timeline was, but like it was like your phone, this is before even it happened, but like your phone if you're driving like cross country or whatever, your phone will sense there'll be like an Arby's or a Carl's Jr. and it was supposed to let you know on your phone that this was going to happen or be up on this, it kind of changed, it morphed into something different, but the idea was there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
this is the thing. Here's the thing. Like I said, we have the technology to change the world. We have the technology to improve and change the world. We really do. Problem is when these large corporations are making profits off, like diabetes medicine is $111 billion profit, right?
Cabbage.
Do you think they're going to want to jeopardize that by finding a cure?
No.
No. Same thing with our global warming. There's ways to fix it. There's ways to change, to reduce our emissions. There's ways to heal the earth. We proved it when there was a lockdown and everybody got shut down that first month of COVID. The ozone layer sealed up.
Yeah, and did you notice how clean the air got and the noise pollution wasn't
We
there?
saw it, right? So we could reverse this shit tomorrow. We have the technology, we have the knowledge, we have the power, but it doesn't make enough money because the industries that are already in place are not willing. They don't see a way to they don't want to lose their stronghold. They don't see a way to make it, to make that shift. They'll make their shift a little, electric car.
Yeah.
Woohoo. But the battery still is fucked. You still have to put the battery somewhere when it dies, and then you go put it underground. It's radioactive. So it's bullshit. It's like we have the technology, but if it doesn't make a profit, we're never gonna change. We're never gonna change.
So we have to make the change make a profit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's got to be money in.
But change, that if the problem is the change, a real good change means that because we could have free energy right now and no one would ever have to pay another electric bill or anything, right? We have that technology.
Mhm.
And that means there would be no more poor people. But without no more poor people, what would the rich do? The rich need the poor to keep the middle class in line. Goes back to George Carlin. Always. Everything comes back to George Carlin, by the way. The most brilliant fucking man ever, in my opinion, to have lived and spewed what he spewed, was just brilliant.
Yeah, I bought his 7 Dirty Words or 7 Words You Can't Say on TV. I bought that album at the Kmart when I was a kid.
Yeah, just brilliant.
Yeah. He's
yeah, I don't know. It's like, until the change makes a profit, the thing is to get rid of the poor or to get rid of even the middle class. Like
you can't get rid of the poor because the middle class needs to see an example of what can happen to them if they don't do what they do.
Right, and also you need the poor and the middle class to keep the economy going, right? So if you eradicate the poor, then there's no profit margin. There's no way to, right? Like it would be, there is a way where we could all live in peace and harmony and distribution of wealth, but why would somebody who's making billions want that?
That's a bad business decision because if their business is to make money.
Exactly. So
what do we do? Can we put a crystal ball in the world and see what do you see? Can you give us a leap? What does this look like in a year? What does it look like if this SAG after thing is going to be just a complete go into like November, December, which is probably going to happen in January, and the people will there's enough content for people to look at and watch without having to for things to be produced, and the higher ups, the gatekeepers, will just sit in their marble walls while everybody kind of fights it out and creates new content, and maybe things will emerge out of that. New technologies, new platforms, new social identity, maybe even a new Facebook or whatever, a new YouTube or whatever. Definitely,
I think there's going to be new media. There's going to be new medium. And I think there's going to be more creative content. But I think in the short term, we're going to go through a lot more shit first. I think there's going to be a lot more chaos and problems. And I think we're at 2023. I think 2024 and 2025, we're going to have very little content, and it's going to be shitty. Because I think that it's not going to catch up for a while. So I think in the short term, it's not so good. But I think in the long term, listen, all through history, there's been chaos and destruction and fear of change and fear of the new and all of that. But and there's always, remember Y2K? We thought the world was going to end at Y2K, right?
Yeah.
So there's always that fear that, oh, this is it. This is it. Global warming is going to destroy the earth. Oh, this is it. But there's always somebody who has an answer, and there's always money people who will be willing to, they don't want to die. Listen, the rich don't want to die either. The rich don't want to, they want their kids to have a good world. So they're going to figure out a way to keep this world going, even if it means putting a huge bubble around the earth or whatever it takes. Right. So, and every generation looks back and goes, oh, back in the old days was great. Now this new generation sucks. But there's always a constant flow of change and a constant flow of growth. And if you look at it, like, does it feel like shitty right now? Of course, eggs are $7. But we are actually in a better economy, we have way better health than people 200 years ago.
Yeah.
People 100 years ago, people 50 years ago. Like, we are so much better off even in our own shit, right, than people were 1,000 years ago. So, it's just constant moving shift and change, and we might not like it. We might not live through it. We could die tomorrow, right? It's all moot, but life goes on. The world goes on. The earth's going to keep rotating.
Yeah. It's not going to stop. To be alive is to always be expanding and creating and stuff like that in whatever context of your life you do. You always want to keep on growing, and that'll happen. That's nature does that. It's constantly. The trippy thing about nature to me is that it's constantly, the earth is constantly eating itself. From microorganisms to whales to tigers and giraffes, it's this really weird oscillating psychedelic like freak show of things just burning and earning and yearning and biting and killing and eating,
dying and regrowing, dying and regrowing. Of course, rebirth. Of course, Tom Hanks was on a round table with a bunch of other actors, and he said this. He goes, whenever anything's going, in a weird way or changing, whatever, always know this too shall pass. But also, when things are going good, always remember this too shall pass.
Yeah, exactly.
So it goes both ways. It's just a fluid, constant. It's a journey, right? I mean, that's getting it back to that kind of spiritual conversation. Life is a journey, and instead of holding the destination as the goal
over your head,
it's just better to go with the flow and enjoy where you're at in the moment, even in the shit.
And also, like I think as we get a little older, and I'm reminded basically all the time, but like to have that. Some of the frustrations come because when you're a child, you're more open, and you can, you're especially with what I do, expressing and making money off of my expressions and making it tactile. I make things with my hands. It's like you want to, and like even when I was in my early 20s, like travel or like moved someplace for the whim of it. I went and lived in Hawaii and was a bartender over at the Kona airport. And had this crazy adventure. I saved somebody's life while I lived over there, and out of the water. All this stuff happened in like 2.5 months of living there, and then you come back and you do different things. But then, as it seems like that, kind of the whole kind of closes up.
Yeah.
Through whatever aggravations or frustrations or whatever we just talked about, the haves and the have-nots, and not being able to feel like you can do your creativity, but you want to. I think that's a frustration, is because I want to create paintings, and more consciously I've done this because realizing I want to feel like when I painted when I was like 5 and 6 years old. I want to see the child in what I do.
Yeah.
The freedom of that.
I think a lot of people, non-artist, like I think all artists feel that way in general. And I think artists are always trying to hold on to that childlike energy. But what I think is, because of the pandemic, I think a lot of non-artist type people are now experiencing that same thing, because for 2 years they couldn't go to work. They couldn't do anything. They had to find a creative outlet. And they realized, oh, I don't need to work so hard. I don't need to, like, there's ways to be happy. I'd rather be happy than, work my ass off for this shitty person. You know what I mean? And I think people are realizing, oh, yeah, there's something freeing about that childlike energy. And why can't we all just live in that childlike energy? Life would be so much better, really, if we were all just, kids again. Adulting sucks, man. Adulting fucking sucks. It's hard. And unfortunately, it feels necessary. Here's the thing, though. It's a perception. It feels necessary because of the system we're in. But really, what I'm discovering for me is the more I stop staying in fear of that system, like, oh shit, how am I going to pay my rent? I got to get a waitress job. I got to do this to pay my rent. Oh, when I'm in that fearful energy, I never thrive. But the minute I say, you know what, fuck it. I don't know how, but I know that my rent's going to get paid next month. Somehow I'm just going to enjoy what I do. And I'm going to find another way to make money doing something I can tolerate more or enjoy more. I always thrive, always thrive. And another great quote. I just love quoting different people, but Leslie Jones was being interviewed by Laverne Cox, and she said she was really at her lowest point, desperate. And Cat Williams said to her, stop acting so desperate. And she said, fuck you. I am desperate. She goes, I'm broke, motherfucker. And he says, you're not broke. You just have no money, but you have talent. And the minute you start making your decisions from your talent instead of from your desperation, you will be successful. And that, let me tell you, that I heard that, and I made a conscious shift in myself at that point to stop living in desperation, to stop feeling that desperate energy, and to really live from my talent and make decisions based on my talent, my joy. And the minute I did that, wow, life opened up and changed for me. It really did. So I think there's something to be said about that. When you're holding a desperate energy, people feel it. People feel it,
That's the frustrating part about it, is because when you're in it, I feel it myself, and the decisions get mad, and then you're like, got seller's remorse, and then you're like, what the fuck am I doing? It's this like tangled thing, and you can get out of it, and it's a wild thing to be inside of it, and then knowing that to get out of that, and then
it's a process, and it's a practice. I think just like yoga is a practice, or baseball players who professional baseball players play catch before every game. It's a practice, right? And I think the same thing with your recalibration. It needs to become a daily practice. The minute you feel the anger or feel the discomfort or feel the chaos or feel the desperation, to make it a practice to shift out of that. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And the easier it gets, the quicker results you get. So I think we need to start individually, when we put it in practice, it makes it shifts for you,
Yeah, that's we're all trying to shift, and I'm like, hey, just FYI, this is my first episode where I've never had a drink.
Oh, there you go. Good
and
for you.
I haven't had any weed on this show, so this is my first.
11 o'clock in the morning. So
that's one of the reasons. But it hasn't held me back from other shows.
Otherwise, I'd be smoking and drinking a glass. I'm a wine and weed girl. I like wine.
This is my first show without weed as well. And so this is the one I wanted to do it on 111. And plus, it was 11 o'clock. So I didn't. Awesome. But I have but shifting and we're all maybe. That's why I think things like this are fun, because people will resonate with this who are going through similar things that we're talking about, and that that you're not alone.
Right.
That and so it's a way of confirming, and also recalibrating.
100%.
We are all in the stages of doing that,
and it's also being aware that everybody's at their own level of understanding, right? Everybody's at their own pace, so you can't really put a judgment on each other. We can't put judgment on each other, because everybody's working through their own shit their own way. And that's their journey. You can't force somebody to do it your way. You know what I mean? You can't.
And people do try, though. People do try. I've seen people manipulate. That's what I had to get out of LA. It's just like, it was this weird, like, sort of passive aggressive sort of relationship I have with LA, and the just the doing things and treading water is not what I'm here to do. I like making movies because they're fun. I like painting because they're fun. When they stop becoming fun, then what are we doing?
Right.
It's no longer fun. Where's the fun? The fun is in the doing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And if it takes moving out, that's an option. But sometimes it's just shifting your consciousness around it and saying, fuck this, I'm just going to have fun. And I think when you do that, people go, oh, wait, he's having fun. Oh, I want a part of that. And then they come to you.
And also, I think a big part of it, which is a modern day thing, is a FOMO. Fear of missing out. I think I've had a lot of, like, especially with social stuff, obviously, is just like people seeing other people's lives recorded and displayed in multiple ways. And then you were sitting there thinking that you're not doing what you should be doing when you are probably doing what you should be doing, and not basing on what you see other people doing.
Right. It's hard though, that's hard, because you see people doing things that you want to be doing and you're like, I get it. But really, it's coming into a centered place of knowing who you are and what you want, and just enjoying going for that, and not worrying what other people think. It's hard. It's hard in LA to not care what other people think.
And these are muscles. These are like yoga. These are muscles that we have to exercise to get stronger.
It is. It's a practice. Again, it's just a practice, and practice recalibrating, practice not caring what people think, practice staying on your faith street, practice all of that. It's just a daily, it needs to be your constitution. First thing in the morning, for me, right now I'm doing The Artist Way. I don't know if you've ever done it.
Of course. I know the book.
It's my first time. It's really my second time doing it. The first time I lasted 2 weeks and quit, but this time, so I get up in the morning, I kind of do they call it morning pages, where you just dump your brain into paper and free writing without thinking. And then I have a morning meditation ritual that I do. I'm really getting into this different habits that support my practice of staying true to who I am, rather than the rat race of the world around me, LA around me, and trying to conform to what people expect me to be, or what I think people expect me to be for them. Because fuck it, I can't be for you or for him or for her or for everyone.
Exhausting.
Anything else. I have to only be me. And if you don't like it, well, too fucking bad. Somebody's going to like it, and that's the other thing. There's how many billions of people on this planet. Sometimes we get caught up, and this is where the fame and the FOMO and all that shit, we get caught up in, well, I want to be Brad Pitt level of fame or Beyonce level.
That's a 1 in a billion people.
Right. But I could be successful with just 1,000 fans, because with those 1,000 fans, if each of them gave me $1, that's $1,000. If each of them gave me $10 for a product, that's $10,000. And those 1,000 people will tell maybe a friend each. Now I'm at 2,000 people. I can make a living very successfully with a decent small fan base, right? And be okay. But we poo-poo that. We as artists go, I know I've done it. I poo-poo that. I poo-pooed my audience because it wasn't big enough. Because it's not, but I'm not at Beyonce level. Fuck that. There's not that many people that care.
Rare.
Very rare. But if you're selling your art, you're success. Period. And there's nothing wrong with that. And to be okay, I think that's what it is. We have to get okay with where we are, instead of constantly feeling frustrated with where we are and wanting something bigger or more. It's okay to want bigger and more, but to be grounded in where you are and be okay with that is it's the gratitude of that that's going to keep you then getting more and moving up that rung. But it's when what you want feels so far outside of yourself.
Or what's the trick? What am I doing?
Or
Not
what's the
doing
trick?
right? What's this
Right.
thing I'm not getting?
And that's bullshit though. And
I know, but
that's the addiction. That's the carrot, the dangling carrot. That's the bullshit addiction, right? That keeps you in that vicious cycle of when it's there. It's
Yeah.
already here. You're already successful. You're already selling your work. That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. You're already a successful artist. And if you say that to yourself, fuck me, I'm a successul artist.
Yeah.
Well, that's more of that's going to come. But the more you struggle with trying to reach that fucking carrot, you know, you never get it.
There's like this, I guess I just getting out of, for me personally, it was getting out of LA because I wasn't able to concentrate and I was feeling stuffy, right? Like all these different things were making me somebody who I wasn't. And that's when you become something and you're not doing what you do. I paint. That's what I do. And when things block you from doing that, that's where it's very frustrating when you're not being who you are. And I think that's sometimes getting out of that for me personally is like even visualizing coming over here. I keep on visualizing, even as I'm talking to you right now, like meditating more.
Yeah.
Now I'm like I'm gonna start working out again. You know, it's like a midlife crisis sort of thing. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to go out this way. I've got to start, changing. And now, the visual, your body's changing. And like, you know what? Like, I don't want to look like my dad. I love my dad, but like with the big bullet barrel chest and some guys like, hold on. It's not too late. It's not over yet. Hold on.
Right. No, I know. I feel you, man. I'm right there with you. Yeah, I'm starting to like eat healthy because I have to, not because I have no choice because I'm at the age where shit's breaking. And you just gotta
Kevin Hart just like wind up in a wheelchair because he was doing something silly.
I know. It's
Not saying
crazy.
that we have to be walking on glass, but it's like, okay, let's work this out. Let's get the dust off. Let's fucking rock.
But it is about, I think in general, it really is about remembering who you are, staying true to who you are. And I think that's the lesson in all of this shit that we've just been through, the pandemic and the global warming and the election cycle and all the shit. It's in the face of all this chaos, staying true to who you are and not giving a shit what other people think and living for your joy. It's kind of it. Because what else do you have? What else do we have really in the end?
The fun is in the doing.
100%.
And when you've done it, when it's already done, like when people see one of your specials or something you're working on, that's a byproduct of the fun.
Right. And it's nice. It's nice to hear the accolades, but then a part of you is like, yeah, but I've done that already. What's next?
Yeah, exactly. You want,
right?
Want eating and eating and eating. Devouring.
Yeah.
So do you have an example or is there a video you can send me that I could play on the end of this of you? I wish you of you singing.
I got lots of videos, man. Well, there's
okay. The Provenza video. I shot a little bit when I saw you, but the comedy, it was I think you did the Trump song or something like that.
It wasn't a Trump song. It was called Cancel Culture.
Cancel. That's it.
And I don't have any of that because that was my first foray into musical comedy writing, but I do have a bunch of videos on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and just type in my name, Doña Oxford, the biggest thing that comes up, I have 13 million views of me playing a style of piano called Boogie Woogie. And it's a very fast and furious piano playing. I get frustrated because that's how everybody knows me, as the Boogie Woogie girl. And I don't want to be known as that. I'm more than that. But I have to embrace that that's how people access me. And if that's how they access me, great. So I have to be grateful for that. Although I feel it puts me in a box. So I struggle with that. It's like, I remember reading it. I was reading Ella Fitzgerald's biography, and she was so frustrated because her biggest hit single, and she's one of the greatest jazz musicians in the world, and yet her biggest hit single was this a tisket, a tasket, which is a nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
And she was so frustrated that at every concert the rest of her life, she had to fucking sing a nursery rhyme.
Mhm.
You know, and it's like, that's how I feel with my boogie video. I'm grateful for the 13 million viewers. Believe me, I'm grateful for the fans. I'm grateful for the exposure. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful that I had the skill to be able to do that at that time in my life, and put me on the map. But I'm also more than that, and I want to keep going. You know, this is every artist's frustration. You get your success in a certain.
Well, the Buffalo thing was as my through line. Like people say, "Oh, I didn't know you painted other things besides Buffalo." I was like, "Yeah,
Right.
I mean, yeah."
Yeah. And you want to be seen for what more you do. That's the frustration, is I want to be seen for everything that I do, not just this boogie woogie video, but because it's got 13 million hits, that's all that people want from me. When they come to my concert, they go, do the boogie woogie. And if I don't do it, they get mad at me and they yell at me. I've had people scream in my face. So it's a little frustrating, but yeah, you can start with the boogie woogie video.
Y'all know what boogie woogie is? Yeah. Can I play a little boogie woogie? Yeah. You mind? Whatever I want, baby. I'm gonna show you what the boogie woogie is, baby. I'm gonna school you. need some water. Hey, Robin, help me out here. Can I get a drum roll, please? Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up for Doña Oxford, people.
Or I have my soul show, just Doña Oxford Live, and there's a whole bunch of videos of me with my 6-piece band, my chick singers doing the pips moves. I'm all over the internet, so just Google me. But my website, DoñaOxford.com, will take you to other things that I do, like screenwriting and acting and all of that other stuff. So yeah.
So, and we'll take off here in a second, but and we'll play that video and then we'll come back. So we've already just played it.
Sure.
What's the stuff in Chicago? Can you give us a little, let's go into the future a little bit, and then we'll end the
Yeah, I'm really excited. So talking about how we were talking about how the young generation doesn't care about age or weight or looks or gender or any of that, sexual orientation. What's great is there's this this artist named Irene Michaels. She is, I can't quite remember her age. I know she's in her 70s. She's a very good singer, and she wants to put out a new, we want to rebrand her. And I love her energy because she was a model in her heyday. She's still gorgeous. I say she's a combination between Kim Kardashian and Bette Midler. She's ballsy and brashy and got that energy that Bette Midler has, but she's also the Kim Kardashian influencer, kind of, and she's got a brand called Eye on the Scene, which the letter I on the scene, which is, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Like, she talks about yachting and polo playing and all that kind of stuff, because that's her world, what she knows. But because she's got this brashy, ballsy energy, it's actually Babs Roman turned me on to her and suggested I produce her. Shout out to Babs. We love Babs. But why I want to produce her is because what I want to do for her brand, I want to rebrand her, because right now she's just kind of doing these singles that are house music oriented, and they're good, but there's no focus on how to tie her whole thing together. So we want to rebrand her and do for older women, older community, what Lizzo did for heavyset people, right? To make it kind of normal, to like what Kylie Minogue is doing with her video. Hey, I'm older, I'm a woman of a certain age, and I'm still sexually active, vibrant, still want to be with, hot men, whatever. I still want to be wooed or whatever. It's like that once you get to a certain age, that life's not over. You know what I mean? And because this younger generation doesn't care about age or weight or orientation, that they're more open as long as the quality of the product is good. So my whole thing is, let's go in, let's get songs with good hooks, good beats. I want to do stuff. I want to make songs for her that are in the vein of like Dua Lipa and Lady Gaga and Lizzo, songs that are kind of that disco poppy kind of vibe with really good hook and good lyrics, and put out some good music, some good videos, and rebrand her. And she's all excited about it. So I'm excited because it's a, it's a challenge. And listen, there's no promises. There's no one can promise you a hit single, but I think good quality, is on the rise, and I think people want good quality stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. That's why I'm going to Chicago. Is we're going to meet and kind of get a chemistry together. I'm going to help her, get her vocals prepped and write some songs together, and go into the studio in a couple weeks after that and make a new album for her. And with that, if that is a success, then I'll be looking for the next artists to produce, while still doing my own. I also do every other month, I do a comedy variety show with my friend Hetty Pasquazzi, who's a great comedian. And she and I do a show called the One Star Review, and review spelled REVUE instead of review. And we have all these amazing comedians, stand-up comics, musicians, and we kind of do a 90-minute variety show every other month. Right now it's at the Stowaway in downtown LA. But we're always looking to expand, and it's been a great series that we've been providing. And I still do shows with Paul Provenza in his backyard, and I help support him however he can for the green room and all of his stuff. So I'm doing a lot.
Yeah,
Plus putting out, plus I've written a sitcom that I'm trying to promote and pitch. So that's on the horizon. I'm constantly, and I just got cast in a Bollywood film, but it's on hold, I think, because of the SAG strike. So I'm still waiting to hear from that. But
Right.
believe it or not, I'm going to be in a Bollywood film.
It's fun.
I won't be Bollywood dancing or anything. I think that, no. My scenes, I'm just a nurse in the
Up to 2 years from now, you're the full huge
right?
spectacle of a scene.
So I'm doing a lot, and I love it. And what I love is it's a variety of things. Like you want to write a film, and and you're painting, all that other stuff in your podcast. It's like, why can't we do a little bit of everything? Why do we have to be boxed into one thing? As long as I'm creative, I don't care what it looks like. So I used to box myself in because I thought I had a fear that people would think I'm scatterbrained and all over the place if I didn't focus on one thing. And so for the longest time, I focused on just being a touring musician and how to make money being a touring musician. And I was kind of miserable because I wasn't getting a creative outlet in other areas. And I realized the minute I let that go and let my creativity flow in other areas, man, I just got so much happier. And when you're happier, more shit flows to you. Good stuff, So I don't know, it's all that. Yeah.
And this is a very interesting. I know you want to go. We got to take off soon, but have you experienced, as you've been successful in different parts of your life, that there's been people that have tried to bring you down from that high? Or what is that? What is it where you think your friends are going to support you, but then they just throw negativity at you? And how do you get out of that? Like,
it's either they throw negativity at you or they say, here's how you should do it.
Yeah. If I were you,
or here's what you should. I hate the word should. Here's what you should do.
You know what you should paint? You should, I think you'd get unless if you want to commission painting, I'll paint it.
Right.
Like, don't tell me, time is cheap doing
but
it.
I mean, there's always haters. There's always people that want to kind of bring you down. And it's usually, on a subconscious level, it's their jealousy that you're doing something creative and they might not be. And so they see, if when you're successful, you're the shiny object, and people it's like moth to a flame. They want to come near the shiny object and they want to be a part of it and they want to share their ideas. And that's wonderful that you want to share your ideas, but you have to share it from a place of, you know, look, and I can do this too, rather than here's my idea, you should do this.
Yeah,
you know,
you should do it for me.
for me, right?
Exactly. Can you do this to help me do this? Well,
Right.
you're actually working on something of your own, but you're like, no, I'm doing this right now, but I'd love to see your idea. I've had so many people going, oh, I got this great movie idea. And I said, well, you should write it down and then show me. Go, no, you write it down.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah. Well, and two, I've gotten really good at thwarting off the energy vampires.
Yeah.
I recognize them right away now, and I go, oh, nope, not going to even entertain that idea. You know what I mean? Because it just sucks your energy to go down those rabbit holes with these people. So yeah, I mean, there's always going to be haters, and there's always going to be saboteurs and self-sabotage too. You know, but again, it boils down to recalibration.
Yeah.
It really does. In everything. The
Yeah,
minute you
center
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And
That's the word of the day. On 111, on this show, the 111th show, it's about aligning into that one and just recalibrating back to that. It really does. That's what it boils down to. Every aspect of your life. No matter what energy, the minute you feel something's off, recalibrate.
let's do it. Okay. Well, on that, let's continue to recalibrate.
Yeah.
And, thank you so much for being on the show.
God, this was so much fun, such a pleasure. Thank you.
I'm glad we got one in. I'm glad you're the 111. And,
Yeah, man. Honored.
and
Really.
yeah, it's been great. I will see you soon at the next
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, you got to come back down here and let me know when this is all edited and put out. Can't wait to hear it. And
Yeah. I'll put it out and I'll put the video in and I'll send you a link. And if you can, share it with your fans.
100%. Oh my God. I will.
I'm trying to get people to share the videos. So many of these videos I do, the people that I do them with don't share. And it's like, oh, I guess I'll just promote it.
No, the whole point is to share. Yeah, I know. No, I will definitely share. I will promote the hell out of it. And yeah, I can't wait. And I'm excited and honored. And thank you so much. It's been fantastic. And yeah.
What are you gonna do the rest of your day? What are you gonna do the rest of the day?
So my friend is here with me in Palm Springs. We're gonna go for a quick lunch. And then I'm gonna sit by the pool. Oh, I do have to do some legal shit with the mold lawyer because I had
the old mold
the old mold lawyer. And I'm going to start, I'm actually writing some songs for Irene today. I'm going to start working on getting those songs prepared. So I have some things to present to her when I get to Chicago. So I'm really excited about this whole week is really, so this week, because I just
recalibrating.
It's so recalibrating because I was so off center with this mold issue and all this other shit that's been going on in my life that this week is literally vacation and creation. Vacation and creation. That's it.
Oh, I'm gonna take a play on your playbook and do the same fucking thing and
do it.
Good inspirations. This has been awesome.
I'm gonna smoke a bowl and I'm gonna get creative, baby.
I know I got some green. I was arguing with somebody in California about if Oregon weed was better than California weed, and I was like, it's better than California weed.
Oregon weed is way better than California weed. I've been to Oregon and it's fucking awesome.
I mean, I could buy a gram here of like 20-30% or 25 for $8.
Oh wow! Oh shit!
A gram. But it's
it's like I'm moving up to Oregon tomorrow.
Oh shit, man, we got some great weed over here.
Oh, I know.
Well, enjoy Palm Springs. This has been great. Let's leave on a high note. Let's all recalibrate. Thank you so much.
Recalibration.
We're just gonna end it on that. Everyone out there, get out and recalibrate.
Love it.
All right. I'll see you in the future.
See you soon.
Bye, Doña.
Bye.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. That was so much fun. I really appreciate you. This is awesome. I can't wait. Yeah. When are you coming back down?
Who knows? I'm just gonna recalibrate and just try to get some shit done. I wasn't getting shit done in LA, and I was like biting my own tail, and I was like, that was a frustrating thing about it. So right now, I got back. I got my teeth work done. Oregon Health Plan is amazing. I got my driver's license renewed. I'm going to start working out and just get some rest and focus
on you. I get
because You know, sometimes that FOMO thing, you're like going, well, what am I doing here that I can't be doing someplace else?
Right.
And that's why I'm here, because I can do things here that, I mean, I've been doing the same thing there, but I think I'm feeling like I'm getting more done right now. So if I can do that and just continue to be productive and recalibrating and kind of bringing it in.
Yeah, that's it. That's
All right.
it. You got it.
All right. That's what I'm doing. So
Let's
I don't know when I'll be back. We'll see. I don't know.
Let's stay in touch anyway. It's fun chatting with you, man. Really.
Well, let's continue the chat some other time, anytime.
100%. Love it. Sounds good.
And congratulations on that Chicago gig. That'll be fun.
Thank you. It's a nice paycheck too.
Oh, you're getting paid. Oh, that's amazing. You're even getting paid.
It's a good job. It's a good
winning.
job.
You're winning. You're winning.
Winning. All right, my friend.
All right.
Take
bye.
it easy. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. Bye. That was fun. All right. That was good. Let's take off. Okay, you guys recalibrate. Enjoy your day. BrettWoods.com, BrettWoods22 on Instagram. Buy my art. Check out my films. Hire me. Talk to you soon.
Friends with friends.